What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is Wednesday, which of course means it's time for another West New York Wednesday here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today, once again, comes from the Brickyard Brewing Company, and they are out of Lewiston, New York, and this is their Wanderlust. So this is a West Coast Double IPA that comes in at 8% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review, and this can is exactly 9 days old. So I'm really excited about this one for a couple of different reasons. Number one, you don't see a lot of West Coast hop forward beers being kicked out by Western New York breweries, but more specifically Buffalo, New York breweries, especially when it comes to them being packaged. Sometimes you'll see them on draft at their brewery or maybe across the region at like craft beer bars and whatnot. Secondly, this is only 9 days old, super fresh. Usually if a beer super fresh on my channel is usually a couple weeks old, but 9 days old is ridiculous. So I'm really excited about that. And then lastly, Rudy Watkins, who was the former head brewer at the Thin Man Brewery in Buffalo, New York, which is now a part of Community Beer Works. They closed down like their physical locations, their brewery. They had two breweries, and now basically Community Beer Works owns basically the Thin Man portfolio they own. So it's good to see Rudy back on his feet, and this is kind of like him paying homage to the West Coast Double IPA. So I saw the little spiel here on the side. I read it a couple days ago, so I'm not going to BS you and tell you I didn't see it. It says, a classic West Coast Double IPA leaning heavily on the selected Amarillo hops, big notes of lemon, lime, resin, and dank with a nice tropical undercurrent. So sounds delicious to me. We will crack it open, get in the glass, and we're going to use the Thin Man glass because why not? And anyway, Chris, the owner at Brewed and Bottled, where I picked this up at one of my favorite local bottle shops in the West New York area, located in Lewiston, New York. Check them out. He said this beer is awesome. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's also awesome, and it's clear as can be as I duff the pour to some degree, but you guys know that's how I roll. Oh yeah. So what I'll do is I'll get out the Bounty. I didn't really spill much or anything, but you know, it is what, I guess I spilled a little bit here and out of this, so just wipe off the can a little bit and throw it over here. So that is looking like a gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous West Coast Double IPA. It's clear beer for sure. Now look at that. That, my friends, is a West Coast style hop forward beer of some sort. It has a vibrant, like golden orange color. You can see my hand through it, or you should be able to see at least the shadow of my hand, but you might be able to make out my hand. It has a little bit of condensation on it. Hold it up to the light. Yeah, that's clear beer all day long. Just over a finger of an infinitely creamy off-white color. It had almost eggshell white. Looks really nice. Head sticking around, which is a great indicator. And yeah, the clarity is true to roof for sure. So anyway, let's get a nose on this one. Yeah, oh my God. That is dank. That is real dank. When they said what? Resin and dank, I would have put dank first. It's marijuana-esque. It's big dank qualities here. Almost like there's mosaic in here. It's giving me like a little bit of like a dank berry thing, but not really like too big on the berry. There's a bready kind of almost caramel malt kind of vibe going on, but they say lemon lime. To me, it's classic orange and grapefruit, that beautiful orange and grapefruit citrus note. I could see the lemon lime thing. Has a little bit of a zesty character that maybe could be the lemon lime. Yeah, it's grapefruit, it's orange. When they're talking about tropical fruits, I'm starting to get like, what is that? Not passion fruit, not guava. Dare I say lychee? Probably not. What is that? Is that maybe like a nectarine or like an apricot, like a slight stone fruit kind of vibe? Maybe a touch of pineapple. And then it does have this resinous, somewhat piney kind of kick to it, but it's more floral. It's like a floral dank character. 8%, you can't smell it. This is really, it's so fresh smelling. Yeah, this smells awesome. It really does. Does it smell as good as some of like the green cheeks of the world, like some of the North Parks, a lot of your, West Coast Double IPAs straight from the source? No, but it's not far off. Ooh. So I just went back, lemon lime. What the fuck? It almost gave me like a slight Sprite like lemon lime character. Not the sweetness you'd get with that, and you can't smell sweetness anyway, but just that lemon lime kind of character. This is gnarly. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Oh, listen, folks. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, this is an old school West Coast Double IPA through and through. This would be something that, like Joe over at Joe's Arcade, I think he would get down with this because of the finish and how this is a bitter beer. This is not a new school West Coast Double IPA. This is old school. It is resinous. It's piney. It's dank. The bitterness is saturating the back of my palate on the finish, like into my throat. Like this is firmly bitter. It's not mild to moderate. It's firmly bitter, and it's dry. Body's appropriate 8%. I'd say a touch over medium, maybe in the low full, but I'd say more like higher side of medium. The mouth feels beautiful, very crisp and effervescent, not over the top, moderate carbonation, still smooth on the palate. So I think the body and mouthfeel are appropriate for what this beer is supposed to be. The taste, however, is a West Coast Double IPA through and through. I would say this, the one critique I would have with this one is I'm not getting as much of the fruity character you get from a West Coast Double IPA, specifically the citrus. Sometimes you get a little bit of that tropical and stone fruit. They say a nice tropical undercurrent. I'm not getting that as much as just like a big, vibrant finish of dank, resinous, pine, floral, just bitterness, which this is like a palate wrecker for people nowadays. Like you don't have the green flash palate wreckers on a lot of those crazy bitter bombs like you used to have 10 to 12 years ago. But this would be a nice replacement for that because this is definitely an old school West Coast Double IPA. So forefront, I get more bread than caramel. So I think that's a little bit of like a new school influence where it's more like a bready, almost crackery kind of malt character. Not a ton of caramel. Although if you twist my arm, I could say a little bit of caramel, like a touch, like a hint. But you get all that at the forefront, dives underneath the palate, and then the citrus hits. And again, it's not huge on the citrus. It's more that grapefruit pith, that grapefruit rind, orange zest, orange peel. Not the sweeter, juicier citrus notes. It's the more bittering citrus notes as you get closer to the pith and the rind and whatnot. As I've taken a couple sips, just like the nose, I'm starting to get a little bit of that lemon lime they're talking about. And again, it's very Sprite-esque or like 7-Up where it's more of like a candied lemon lime, but it's not that sweet. It just, again, the characteristic is candied for the lemon lime as opposed to anything else, but it doesn't have the sweetness doesn't accompany it like you would get in like a soda pop. So I think that's really cool. Midway through the palate, nectarine, apricot, more of a stone fruit vibe, but again, it's not as luscious and it's not as vibrant as was in the nose. And then the finish is where this one kind of finishes big. Semi to full on dry, more approaching full on dry, firmly bitter. This is one of the more bitter beers I've had in recent memory. And it gives me that, it's really dank on the finish, like not maybe to the level it was in the nose. It doesn't have that marijuana-esque, like super dank, almost skunky vibe. It's more of just like a generic dankness, but really vibrant, really big, intense. Then the floral resinous pine kind of hits as well. It is very bitter on the back of the palate, and I have come around on bitterness where I like it. This might be a little bit too bitter for me, but I can't knock it because they're calling it a West Coast Double IPA. Also on the bottom where it says where it's canned, it says Time Machine. Yeah, it's like we traveled back to like 2012, 2013, where these beers were reigning supreme, or even, earlier than that. But that's kind of where I first started recognizing these beers were, back in the early 2010s. And it's just, yeah, this is a big, bitter, huge West Coast Double IPA. Here's a beautiful thing. A little bit warming in the chest, no astringent on the palate. There might be maybe some of that dryness and bitter kind of character is maybe a little bit of the alcohol, but it's not astringent, and I can't identify it as the alcohol. It's just kind of blending in with everything. And as this beer opens up in the glass, the fruitiness is starting to be a little bit more apparent, which is nice. Tip of the tongue is that lemon lime, and the citrus is kind of starting to ramp up a little bit. So I feel like by the time I get to the end of this glass, it's going to be pretty damn tasty. Now, I try to give you guys the honest to God truth on my channel when it comes to beer reviews and how I feel about beers. And even though I've come around on bitterness and I, have really enjoyed the new school West Coast hop forward beers and some of the old ones, this to me if you're an old school West Coast hop forward beer lover, you would drink this, and I think you would love it. The bitterness is here. You get the fruitiness. You get a little bit of that malt character. The finish is what I think really sets it off for the style specifically. I don't love this beer, but I thoroughly enjoy it and really dig it. So keep that in mind. I'd say pressure drop. Their Sticky Tree, 6.8% West Coast IPA, probably one of the best in the Western New York area when it comes to West Coast beers, hop forward beers, that is. This has probably surpassed it in my mind, or yeah, I think it may have. I don't know. I'm gonna give this a fucking high score because Rudy did a great job with this. Kudos to Brickyard and everybody over there. This is really fucking good. And I haven't checked the Untapped ratings, but because it's a West Coast Double IPA, I would guarantee this is a sub 4 on Untapped because it's a new West Coast Double IPA, not from California, so automatically not for me. But yeah, I don't know. I'm between two scores. I'm between a high 4.25 and a low 4.5, and I'm gonna go the extra mile and give Wanderlust from Brickyard. I'm gonna give this a low 4.5. I'm gonna go 4.4. This is fucking awesome. This is awesome. This is West Coast Double IPA to a T. It's up there with some of the ones I've had from the West Coast. Joe, settle down. I know you're gonna come here and be like, what? I need that beer. Honestly, I hope they keep this as like at least a rotating offering because this is fucking great. This is a great West Coast Double IPA. I think it is anyway. I don't know. The only way to really compare is having like a 9-day-old beer from like Green Cheek or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But this is really good. And I didn't really talk about the artwork. Somewhat simplistic. I'm okay with it. It's all about the contents inside the can though. So anyway, price point availability, $16 a 4-pack at the brewery. I picked it up at Brewed and Bottled because I could buy a single. I think Chris charged like an extra 50 cents or something. That's fine to buy a single. This might be one that I buy a 4-pack of though next time if they do release it again. And availability is Brickyard. They basically, you can get their stuff at their brewery. Chris will occasionally get their stuff because he's essentially next door to the brewery. So he doesn't stock a lot of their stuff because, hey, just go next door to the brewery and buy it. I know Tops in Lewiston has like a whole cooler dedicated to local beer and Brickyard specifically. They make their way around the Western New York area, more specifically Buffalo. So you got to be kind of in the Buffalo/Rochester area. But if you are, and you want a great West Coast Double IPA, this is the beer to grab. So huge thanks to Chris who kind of recommended it. I had my eye on it. I was like, yeah, I got to grab a couple Western New York Wednesday beers. And I was like, how's the Wanderlust? Because I was here. He's like, fucking great. He's like, Rudy knocked it out of the park. And I'm like, oh, that's all I need to hear. And he did. He wasn't lying. Let me go one more sip, make sure everything's cool. And I'm not fibbing here with this rating. Man. This is almost like a hybrid of a new school West Coast Double IPA and an old school where I'm getting, now as this opens up, a little bit more fruity characteristic, that lemon lime, the other citrus, a little bit of tropical and stone fruit, but then that big, huge finish, resin, pine, floral, dank, bitter, beautiful balance between everything. And by balance, I mean totally not. This is fucking a big bitter bomb. Dank resin is just, all right, so 4.4 out of 5. If you've had this one before, please post in the comment section. 9 days old. I'd imagine a lot of you haven't had this one, but if you do pick this one up, by the time this goes up, I think this will probably be around 2 weeks old, and you should still see them on the shelves. They should be available at Brickyard. Go seek this one out if you love West Coast Double IPAs. Like, I don't think I'm steering you wrong. And if I do, come back to the channel. Let me know why you didn't think it was as good as it is, because I think it's fantastic. One of the better Western New York Wednesday beers that I've had in a hot minute, especially hop forward. Fucking delicious. Great job, Rudy, Brickyard. Thanks, Chris, for the recommendation. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another Western New York Wednesday. Check back next Wednesday where I'll be reviewing something else. I did pick up a beer from the Wayland Brewing Company, so I'll probably be reviewing that. I think it's like a hazy pale ale. Sounded pretty good. We'll see how it is. Till the next one. Cheers.